Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another live stream. This time we're with the OTR King of the Castle, and it's the final round, round 10, at Nunney Castle in the UK. Now we've got 4 laps, 4 10-kilometre laps, with I think about 141 metres of climbing per lap. So not too much climbing, but the lads are going to feel it, especially those that have done the Tour du Alps, and there's quite a good number of them here tonight. It looks like a really good turnout, 24 riders at the moment, and a few more minutes before the start it kicks off. Now obviously I'll say again, I'm not racing, I'm simply commentating, but you will see me leave the studio and jump on the bike, turn the pedals so that I'm not getting kicked from the race. I've set the alarms, so we shouldn't have any issues there, and hopefully we'll get to cover the full race without any issues. I'm looking forward to this one. I've been so concentrated on the Tour du Alps and setting up for that I haven't really had time to be able to sort my stream out for other races. So this is really a test race for me prior to the ending of the Tour du Alps this next week. And in particular, I'm live streaming Thursday's Tour du Alps, the full stage, because ZMS are not able to do so. But back to today, and we've got a good field. We've got John Beams is here. I think Daniel might well be here. I heard somebody say hello, Daniel, so I think that's the Daniel Cadiz. Could be wrong. I can't see from the rider list, obviously, so I won't know until we kick off. But with about 10 seconds to go, I'm going to jump on the bike and wait for the countdown, spin the pedals, go through the start line, and then we'll be ready to resume commentary. Now, just looking at the rider list, Laurette is making a big effort before we even start. So let's get on the bike. 12 seconds to go. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Turn the pedals. There we go. There we go. And I'm through. And I saw somebody getting left on the line. I don't know who that was. So let's get back in the chair. Here we go. And let's get to the front of the race. So if we find the... there's the front of the race, the end key. So we got Ericsson trying to jump off the front, and we'll keep an eye on exactly what's happened. Nice to see a 3R jersey. I don't know who it is yet. Lions. Okay, he's a new one on me. The Hook I'm very familiar with. Yeah. And who's this in? Daniel Cadiz is there as well. I've just seen him in 4th place. So Daniel is riding today. This will be an interesting battle between him and John. Will they duke it out, or are they going to save themselves for the Tour du Alps tomorrow, which is going to be a key stage? But let's concentrate on this. We're not too much about the Tour du Alps. And there's James Ogilvie at the front. Now James is not only the head guru over at OTR, the team leader, but he's also the organizer of this race as well, along with Paul Pudell. Not Paul Pudell, Paul Nichols. So yeah, and we've got a few OTR boys in the field tonight, including, as I mentioned earlier, Paul Pudell and a few others. But we'll get to call them out as the action. Let's get back to the front as the action happens. I suspect on this first bit, you can see from the profile at the bottom of the screen, I think this is going to stay together until that first spike. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get some small gaps, but I don't think the riders that are going to want to be in contention are going to be far off the front. Because if they are going into that climb and they get distance, they're not going to catch it back. That is for sure. Steep downhill after you finish the climbing for the first bit, as you can see, about a third of the way into the lap. So that could well be decisive for the heavier boys as well. I don't know this Danish rider, Feldballer. So the M, I take it, signifies master. But we've got some good Danish riders, including Hedidam, who's riding the Tour de Alps. So we know that they have a good number of riders here on RGT. And he's certainly making a push off the frontier. But let's see who's happening behind. There we go. We've got the group behind, look. So big group. And to be fair, one rider isn't, in fact they've caught him, one rider isn't going to jump off the front. There's no way that's going to happen at this point in the race. A chasing group is going to be able to pull back anything but like a 50-meter gap. So, and they're not. I just feel they're not going to let a gap go this early. But we'll see what the climbers do on this first sharp bit coming up in about a kilometre's time. So nicely together at the front. We will spend a bit of time, folks, going back through the field towards the back end. But initially I'm going to stay with the leaders because I want to see what happens when they do hit this climb and whether one rider jumps away. As we get Murtaugh just trying to push off the front. Now, one tactic that the bigger or heavier riders will do is they will push off the front generally because they realize they're going to lose distance on the climbs. They're going to, lose a few meters on the climbs. So the bigger riders generally will push themselves into the beginning of the climb and try and just get that few extra meters. And that could well be what Murtaugh's about here. But you can see the chasing pack behind him, and we're watching live now on screen. So the chasing pack are not far behind. And very soon I think we'll see the true climbers coming to, although this climb is a little bit too short, I feel, even for the pure climbers. I mean, Cadiz is there. You can see he's now in third place. So yeah, he's going to be near the front on these short, sharp climbs. But then you've got riders. I mean, Jim's a slightly, he won't mind me saying so, slightly bigger rider. So Jim's at the front as well. I don't think these climbs are enough to sort out really the pure climbers from the strongmen. And the all-rounders like James. So, yeah, interesting. I mean, Lyons has gone off the front, the Team 3R rider, and got a 31-meter gap. But it still continues to rise here, albeit not by much. But it still goes uphill, and I think they'll peg him back slightly. And then when we get to the downhill, my feeling is that it will pretty much come back together, the front few that have broken away. There is a bit of a gap though, so what we'll do is we'll work his way back down the field. There you can see the chasing 3 or 4 riders, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders chasing the leader. But then behind those, and I'm just going to work my way through them, there's Daniel, we've got Vahu, and he's in 8th place. But then we've got a fairly decent gap then to 9th, 10th and lower place positions. You can just see riders behind these two chasing. So the gaps are opening up now. And this is the 3rd chasing group. And they're going to struggle because they've got to make up a 66-meter gap to get the 2 riders in front. And then they've got a bigger gap to the top 8 riders. So going to be an interesting dynamic. And we'll get back to the front shortly, folks. We're just going to check on what's happening lower down the field. Here we've got 2 OTR. There we go. There's Gordon Jackson giving me a wave. But we've got Paul Puddell, who must also be listening to me. He's just given us a wave. We've got Jackson, Wagstaff riding together here. So, yeah, they do well to stay together as well, because 3 riders on this kind of downhill can probably work together and maybe pull back a little bit of distance. But it looks like Wagstaff may well be the heavier of the 3 because he's pushing off the front. And then in 18th place, we've got Beta. Then Silvestre in 19th place. And these riders will just be pacing themselves, getting into the ride. They will try and claw back some other places. Now, it looks like it was Paul Nicholls who decided not to race. So you can see that the last 2 riders in the rider list are me, Dee Bucock, and Paul Nicholls. And we're both streaming. So that's why Paul is not racing. Paul's done the same as me. He's pulled over to the side of the road. And let's get back to the front. You see, Lyons has been caught, and that's exactly what I expected. I don't think we're going to see any one rider pulling away at this early part of the race. It's not really a course for a breakaway, this really isn't. I mean, there's a couple of nasty little spikes on it, but they're not long enough to really make a break happen. And you can see that John Beams, let's just tab down a little bit. Whoops, wrong key. So there you've got James, and there you've got John Beams just coming into 2nd place now, with Daniel closely shadowing him. And this will be an interesting battle, because are these 2 going to sort of like push themselves prior to tomorrow's key stage in the Tour de Alps? Or are they simply just stretching the legs and enjoying themselves? We shall have to wait and see. The problem with racing is you become very competitive, and sometimes even an outing that was supposed to be just a leg stretcher will turn into an out-and-out hammerfest, especially if your competitors are doing that as well. So we'll have to wait and see. John's just taking the head now, but he's doing his fair share and letting other riders come to the front as well. So he's not going to stay on the front and pull it along for too long. Excuse me scratching my nose, folks. I must be coming into some money because my nose is itching. Anyway, let's see what's happening behind. So we got that nice group of 6 up front. Feldball is just joining them, so that's a group of 7. And then 200 meters behind, we've got the Who. And I don't know, it doesn't look like he's putting in the kind of wattage that he's going to catch the guys in front at the moment. It's very difficult when you've got a group of, like, shall we say 3, 4, 5, 6 riders or more pushing the pace along and doing through and off. You almost have to be doubling. I mean, and they're doing 4.8, 5.2 we just saw there, the man in 3rd place in the front group. So thankfully Verhoeven's now been joined by this small group, and he'll do well to stay with them. You know, turn the pedals, stay with them, get a bit of recovery, and then if these 5 riders all work together, they can, and they are doing, they're pulling it back slowly, they can perhaps make a bit of a difference. But I don't know, it's a difficult call when you get dropped so early on, and if you're not going to sort of like do a lot of work together, it's going to become very difficult. So this is the 3rd group on the road, 3 OTR riders in a line, all following Mr. Wagstaff here. So that's nice to see, but they need to be working pretty hard as well. What are they? 79 meters behind that small group in front. So that could, again, and they're on the climb here, so that's a chance to pull back a few meters. That could happen. I'm just very quickly running through the riders because I do want to get back to the front and just see what's happened. There we go. So you can see that I think these 7 riders are going to more or less stay together for the next few kilometers. What happens is when they get to the end of the graphic, then it automatically shoves back to the start of the graphic. So this is almost the finish of one lap, and then you've got that relatively undulating but flattish section before they hit the climb again. So I don't see anybody going off the front here, so I think we can go further down the field and having a look what happens as they come into Nunney. You just saw the sign there. So here we go. If you can hear a little bit of background noise in the distance, it's my 2 children who are currently having a bath and making a fair amount of noise. So I apologise if that's disturbing you, but you know, family man and all that. Okay, so let's find out where the group are behind. They can see them on the road, so this might. Oh no, they can't. No, sorry, I was looking at the wrong graphic. No, they can't see them on the road, not on this twisting circuit. So this is, and they're just passing the Nunney sign. So this is a tough gap, folks, to close up, and my feeling is it's not going to happen now. It's 680 meters. And while they are pegging it at that, I don't see any of these riders closing up to the front 7. I think they've gone. So these guys are fighting basically for top 10 places now, 8th, 9th, and 10th. We'll see what happens. And let's find out what's happening with the 3rd group on the road. So here we go. We got Paul Pudell in 14th place, and is it Rob Wagstaff in front, and Gordon Jackson. So yeah, there's 4 of them here now, so possibly even 5. So they'll do well. Let's have a look. Is there 4 or 5? No, there's 4 of them. So they need to work together. There's no reason why they can't close up the gap on the few riders in front of them if they really pull out the stops and work together. And they are bringing it down slightly, so hopefully that will come back together. And that might give the 2nd group on the road a chance of catching the leaders, but I'm going to call it that they're not. I think the 7 leaders are away now, and while 1 or 2 of them may well drop off the leading pack and join this group behind, I think we're going to see the winners now coming from that group of 7 up front. So we'll just quickly work his way back and see what's happening at the back end of the field. We've got Beta again, and he's in no man's land. He's like 900 meters, well, 880 meters from the guys in front, but he's 130 meters in front of DeRoche, and he's not going to slow for him, and neither would I. There's no point. DeRoche is putting in more wattage, so we'll probably join him, and then the 2 can work together. In fact, DeRoche is putting in some good wattage. He's going into the red and putting in above threshold efforts. Quite a good effort there from DeRoche. Let's just have a look at him. 162 heart rate, a nice high cadence, 92, 91. So yeah, he's working hard, this lad. 3.5 watt kilos, 3.8, 4.1. So he's really working hard to try and bring back Beta. Good riding. And then we got Silvestre. Now, he seems to be settling himself in. I don't see him catching DeRoche in front. I think he's just settled for his existing place at the moment. That could, sorry, let's go back to him. That could well change, but you can see that he's in what we call no man's land. He's too far behind the rider in front, and he's too far in front of the rider behind to change his position anytime soon. So my guess is he's just going to hold on to his 19th place for the time being, at least until we probably get into the later laps. So you can see Panorisi is a good 500 meters behind him, so he's not going to catch him anytime soon. And in fact, yeah, wattage wise, I don't see this switching around. Healthman looks to be struggling, although he is on the. To be fair to the lad, he is on the climb now. He's Lantern Rouge, which is never easy place to be. Last rider on the road, and he's on the steep 10% climb, as you can see. And this must hurt. It's only short, but when you've been dropped off the back and you're riding on your own, it's a tough ask. So all credit to the lad for sticking it out. And let's get back to the front and see what's happening at the front. So as we join, John Beams is just pushing off the front. But as I say, this group are working well together. They're riding as a group. You won't find any one rider doing too much work. They'll share. And look at Daniel coming through now, just showing how strong he is. 7.5, 7.7 watt kilos from John as he just pushes at the front. So Johnny's really testing the legs here, which is a bit of a surprise, but he's obviously feeling good. He looks by far the strongest of this group at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in a couple of laps' time. Whether he does too much work earlier on. Daniel Cadiz just whizzing around the outside. But yeah, I expect these 7 riders to stay together. And they've now got a 930 meter gap. Let's just go through the pack then. See who they are. They're working well together. They're taking turns, although I do feel like Johnny's doing too much work on the front. But he's obviously feeling very, very good and very happy. And there you've got Laser. He's a good rider, and along with these other 3 riders, he's trying to push them along. You can see he's going into the red, as is Verhoek, just trying to. So these riders are really putting in a bit of an effort here. Even Loet is going into the red, look. So they are trying. They are trying to close up the gap, but they're a kilometre behind now. And unless they get a bit of help, there's 4 of them at the moment. How far behind these 4 is the group behind? Lawson has been dropped off. He's 30 metres behind. So can Lawson get back to them? What are we on? We're just about going over a crest. Sorry, we've gone over it. So we're on the downhill section. So Lawson might be able to rejoin them, especially as it starts to kick up as well when we hit the climb for the second time. So we'll see what happens. Is it the second time or is it the third time? No, it's the third time, isn't it? Okay, yeah, it gets confusing for. Oh, there's me. Sorry. There you can see the front group just not having any difficulty at all. Cadiz putting out 7 watts. Lyons putting out 7 watts plus. Ogilvy putting out 7 watts plus. In fact, they're all having to put out really high wattage. Even Murtaugh put out 7, and did Sylvian. So all of them have put out 7 plus wattage just to try and stay together. It does look like Sylvain, and Murtaugh have been gapped, but Sylvain is saying, nope, I'm having none of it. He's really trying to get back on. But it's hard work, folks. When you get a 10, 15 meter gap, it's incredibly difficult to close up on a small group in front that are working well together. But he's done so. I mean, that's a humongous effort. And you have to ask yourself, look, you can tell the effort because he almost sailed through them. We call this burning matches. Sylvain had to burn a match there to get back to this group. And the question is that as we go further into the race, is he going to pay for that? Is that going to come back to bite him later on in the in the race. We'll see. But what it enabled him to do was leave behind Murtaugh, who's now been gapped, and he's not going to come back. There's no way he's going to close 180 metres on his own to a fast-moving group in front. So say goodbye to the group, Murtaugh, because they're gone. What he will try and do, and you can see him doing that now, he's really working hard. He will try to consolidate his 7th place and make sure that Verhoog and the chasers, who are 690 metres, 700 metres behind him, and in fact he is actually gapping them, so he's not going to catch the riders in front. Of that I'm pretty confident, but he will stay away possibly from the riders behind. Let's get back to the front and see. We've got 25 kilometres to go. 14 kilometres to go. So we've got a lap and a half to go. And we're down to 6 riders now on the front. I did say that, we could have the odd rider here and there dropping off this group and then it would thin down. But that as a whole, I really believe this is going to come down to a sprint finish. And I don't know who to call in the sprint. I mean, I'll wait until they're on the last lap and then... Oh, pardon me. I'll wait until they're on the last lap and then I'll call who I think is going to take the stage win. The race win, should I say, not stage. And this is the last of the 10 races, folks. This is... I don't know what the standings are. I didn't check it out before the race. Again, family duties, busy. So I don't know the full overall standings and whether it's a close match or whether somebody's in front on the leaderboard and can't be caught. So it'll be interesting. I'm sure James will get the results up pretty quickly after the event. But this is it. This is it. Those that are out of contention really need to put in a humongous ride to change positions today. Okay, let's work his way back down the field because, as I say, I really feel that these riders need to watch it. Though. See what I was saying about Sylvain? Again, look, only a 7-metre gap. But he's going to have to burn another match here just to get back on that wheel. And he's going to pay for this, folks. He's going to pay for this. Look, he's having to work really hard to hold the wheel. And it's gone again. And that's my alarm. I'm going to stay with Sylvain while I jump on the bike and see whether he gets back. He has. He's got back. But that's another match he's burned. And he can't keep affording to do that. I'll turn my alarm off in a minute. I'll just turn these pedals. Make sure I'm not kicked out of the race. There we go. I'll turn the alarm off. Okay. That's my phone alarm going off to warn me to get back on the bike so that I don't get kicked from the race. Because we currently have to get on the bike every 30 minutes. Otherwise... you can only spectate and commentate for 30 minutes with this software at the moment. Something I hope RGT will change in the near future. But this is an exciting battle, and well done to Sylvain for hanging with this group. I mean, I'm not doing him any disservice when I say, he's having to burn matches, because he is. And I truly believe that as we come into the last lap, he's going to pay for those efforts. You'll see him distanced off the back. You see if I'm not right. Okay, let's find out what's happening then to the riders behind, because I don't think, as I say, that Felbo makes a dash off the front, but I don't think anybody's going anywhere here at this point in the ride. So we'll work his way back down the field and have a look what's happening behind. Yeah, we've got a small gap there, but they're pulling back. James is pretty canny. He's a very experienced rider. He'll know what he has to do to stay with the group, and he won't allow himself to get distanced off the back too easily, that's for sure. Okay, come on, work his way down. There we go. There's Murtaugh. the lad that was dropped. And you can see that it was 180 and it's now 220. So I was right in that he's not going to get back on the group, but also I called the group behind wouldn't catch him, and true enough, he's managing to stay away from them. But look at the wattage he's putting out, 5.5 watt kilos there. So he's working really hard to ensure he isn't caught by the group behind. And to be fair to the lad, he's trying to get back to the leaders in front, who are now 190 metres in front of him. But I can safely state, even putting out 6.2 watt kilos like he is, he's not going to get back. He's not going to get back to the front riders. And then you've got this group chasing behind, but they are not going to catch him either. They're fighting it out for, what will it be, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th place. But then if we just quickly work his way through this group, you can see Merlot on the front, Paul, Lazar and Lorette. Just a few wheel lengths behind Verhoeven and Lawson. So these are all together, but then you've got Wagstaff, who's a further 30 odd metres behind. So he's been dropped from that small group and he's losing distance, so he's falling back. So my guess is Wagstaff is not going to be pushing for a top 10 place. Not unless he puts in a humongous effort to get back to them, and that doesn't look like that's happening. Sure, the German, he's in no man's land, which is an awful place to be. I'm saying awful, I mean in relative terms to nobody really likes to ride on their own, unless they have to. But there's no sense in waiting for the people behind, and there's very little chance of him catching Wagstaff in front at the moment, given the wattage that he's putting out, as Wagstaff's putting out superior wattage. And then we got Gordon Jackson, the OTR rider. And Gordon will just be riding, he's experienced enough, will just be riding nice and steady and making sure he doesn't lose any places. If he can catch Shaw in front of him, he will do so because he's putting out better wattage. But he's canny enough to know what he's doing, make sure that the guys behind don't catch him, and he's well in control of that. Beta. And again, he's in no man's land. So, oh, what's that? Why is it gone? Oh, it's gone down to me. Let's go back to the front then. Now that was a glitch because I didn't even press a key there, and for some reason it ended up going down to me. So we've still got the 6 riders, haven't we, at the front? With James just doing his stint on the front. Looking good as well, looking nice and strong. Be interesting if this comes down to a sprint. And what are we on now? We've got, what, are we just... I thought we'd already done 2.5 laps, but looking at this, yeah, we haven't. We've only done 2 laps, so is that right? Is that graphic right? I must have been misreading it earlier, folks. I do apologise. Yeah. That's what happened when your head's full of all kind of other things, like the children splashing in the bath, and you can hear them in the background. Okay, yeah, so the half distance now, there we go. So that's 2 laps gone. I just made a mistake earlier. I thought it was 2.5, but no, it was 1.5. So 2 laps gone. And what we done? 31. So we're gonna basically finish around about the hour mark, which is pretty fast going. That'll be 40 kilometers in an hour, so just over. Yeah, that's pretty fast going. But then, you know, as a fast moving group like this, so again, the exciting battle I think is a bit further behind. Murtaugh still out on his own. You can see him coming into these folks are still coming into the halfway point. They haven't reached half distance yet. So this is basically the second group. You've got Murtaugh in between groups, but this is the second group on the road. Just approaching the start banner, the end of this long straight. Now this is going. This gives you and there we go. This gives you a feeling, folks, for the finish, because this is going to be the same finish that we're going to. I think it is anyway. Is it? Am I right there? Are we gonna get this as the finishing straight? I think we are. In which case, it will be really nice to be able to pick out the winner if we do have a straight run into the line. Although it's curling round here. No, maybe not. Maybe yeah, they've still got half a kilometre to go, haven't they? So I called it too early. It's always difficult on this course. There's different skins in RGT. By skins we mean, there you go. Look, it is twisted to the finish, so we're not going to get a straight run into the finish as they go under the banner. And that's 2 laps completed for this group. We'll just nip back to the front, make sure they're all together, which they look to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6 of them. So all 6 are still together at the front. Yeah, that looked very, very twisty. So we're not going to get an out and out sprint finish. I feel. I think we're going to get the twisting turns, sorting them out at the end. But we'll watch them going through lap 3 and see. As Murtaugh still holds his, it's not necessarily going out. Say that, and then it does. But he's still putting out good wattage. No chance of being caught by the fellows behind, even though they are putting out really good. In fact, let's have a look at this, because they're putting out some really good wattage here. I think Paul's a really good climber, so this is not really suiting him. He's more he shines more on the rides with more hills in them than this kind of terrain. But there's nothing much in between these riders here, although it does look like as Wagstaff's joined them now. Just saw he was 10 metres behind, but he's obviously closed it up. So I think these riders are going to stay together as well. The only rider between these and the front group, Murtaugh, seems to be in a space of his own. They have dropped Lawson, or was Lawson behind them and is he catching? Because this is a good ride. Yeah, he's putting in some good efforts here, but is he going to catch them? Lorette looks like he's just settling for going into the red at 1.7. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does. So it must be either an extremely light rider or Just get him back into racing. That's a very, very low watt kilo to be going into threshold, 1.7. Don't really understand that. Sure. And he's in the middle as well of riders. Jackson. Looks good on the white bike with the kit, doesn't it? I might change myself. That looks quite nice. These two riders, are they working together or has one just caught the other? We shall see. They decide to stay together for a little while. And Kaufmann is obviously Lantern Rouge at the back. Still turning the pedals. Let's get back to the front and see what's happening. As we rejoin, Daniel's off the front, John following closely behind him. Now then, have we had a gap here? It looks like we might have had a gap. Let's have a look, folks. We've got 4 riders here. You can see there's 4. And then Sylvain. Now, what did I tell you earlier about Sylvain and him burning matches? I did say that he needed to be staying up near the front, not doing any work, because he's paying for his earlier efforts. And what's he got? 4 fast-moving riders in front of him. Jim has been dropped as well. So I don't think Sylvain is going to get back for these 4. I really don't. He's 120 meters, 118 meters behind. But I just don't see him closing that gap. He's putting in good wattage, and all credit to the lad. I'm not knocking him at all. It's hard work when you have to close gaps and you have to put in that extra effort. And if you're any kind of a racer, you know you're going to suffer later for it. I've commentated on too many races not to realise that and to be able to call it out. And the same with James. James will not mind me saying that he was always going to struggle staying with the likes of John and Daniel, and he's made a really good fist of it. But I think as they continued to push on, he's realised he's not going to be able to stay with them if he continued to put out the really high effort. So he's dropped back slightly, and I hope he manages to hold on to his current position and hold off Murtaugh. I think he will, but we'll see what happens. It depends how much he took from the tank in the early part of the race. And again, Sylvain, will James catch Sylvain? That's another question. He's doing well. He was, what was he? He was doing well. He's actually pegging this gap for the riders in front. So never say never. I mean, just because I call it and say he's not going to get back doesn't mean it's not going to happen, folks. I've got it wrong many times, but I don't know. I'm pretty experienced as well, and I can usually work out the tactics. And I don't think he will get back, as you see the gap growing now. But never say never. I'd like to see him get back, because the more riders at the front, the more of a competition we're going to have. But it's a big ask, and these 4 are motoring. You know, I mean, they're going uphill and they're doing 31 kilometers an hour. So They're not hanging about. Big efforts. And I say that, and I just noticed Paul Pudell putting out above threshold effort. So let's just move his way back down the field and have a look what's happening there. There's Sylvain, there's James, there's Murtaugh. So 5th, 6th, and 7th. They're the positions that could switch around, but which, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Jim isn't that far behind Sylvain. Can he catch him? I don't know. Let's come back to that. As Merlett's on the downhill slope, so he's a good kilometre behind on the downhill. We'll see what happens. And it does look, folks, what I'm going to do here, you might remember me telling you in other broadcasts, I'll stay with Wagstaff just for a minute. You might remember me telling you that there was a bug in RGT for a long time where the graphic on the bottom of the screen froze up and the paddle didn't work, the white paddle. Well, you can clearly see I'm changing riders here. There's Paul putting in the above threshold efforts, which I want to stay with. But you can see that the paddle isn't changing position. So what you have to do, you have to go into the GUI on your phone and you have to turn off the elevation map, which I've just done. So there you see it disappear from screen. Now as I turn it back on and it appears, you can see that the paddle is now working. There's Paul, he's the white paddle in the middle of the screen. So sometimes that's what you've got to do. You've just got to turn it on and off. And that goes the same for any of the other GUI parts that don't work. Like for some reason, sometimes you don't get the text. And somebody's saying spin my pedals, but I've got the alarm set, mate. I've got the alarm set. I'm not going to get caught out. Not this time. In fact, as you've mentioned it, I will check my alarms, but I'm pretty sure I got 17:20 set as my alarm. So that's and I had 16:55. That's 25 minutes. Yep, I'm good to go, mate. I'm good to go. And that should see me to the finish, but I'll set another alarm as well. So there's, as Verhoek decides to leave Paul behind and Paul decides to chase. This is a good battle between these two, and it'll be interesting if they can hold on to each other. Let's just check on what's happening with Lawson behind. He's 100 metres behind. He's not going to catch the rise in front. They're doing much heavier wattage than he is. Lazar, I think he's just settled for his position now on the road if he can maintain it. Although I suspect he will get caught by Shaw, who's doing higher wattage. So these positions further down the field, folks, are going to switch around a little bit. You've got Gordon Jackson on the downhill, just freewheeling, but he might as well on this kind of a slope. DeRoche, he's just coming up to the top of the climb and being caught by, is that Silvestre? Yeah. So he's being caught up as well. There he is. And Arisi, he's still got the remainder of this downhill section and then the undulating bit before hitting the climb. And then Kaufman, last man on the road again. And you know the format here, folks. From Kaufman, we go straight back to the front and check on what's happening. And these four are still together. So we've gone from 7 to 6 to 5 to 4. Slowly, the war of attrition is shedding riders. Now, do we think these 4 riders are going to stay together? Or are we going to see one or more getting shelled as we get nearer to the finish? What distance have we got? We got 10 kilometers to go. So we're 3/4 of the way through the ride. We've had 30 kilometers. We're just coming up to that twisty section where they go to the start finish banner. So we'll have a good look. We'll stay with them and have a good look at it here, because I think I was hoping we'd get a sprint finish, but we might not get a sprint finish with this corner. Look, this sharp corner here, you go around there and then hit the finish. And that could well be key on the final lap, that last sharp hairpin. And I think it will be. I think that will split them. I don't think it's going to come down to like the width of a tyre in the sprint. I think that last hairpin is going to sort them out and give us a clear winner. Oh, yeah. And I can hear not just the children screaming, but the rain on my window here in the attic. So it's raining here in the Netherlands, and it's raining on screen as well. So they've got the rain coming down, and I've got the rain coming down. As Feldborg puts in 9 watt kilos to try and get off the front. Let's just join him. There he is. He's saying, I'm not going to wait for you guys. I'm going to try and get a gap. And he's got a 30-meter gap. But this is not going anywhere, folks. Trust me, this is not going anywhere. They're not going to let him go. They're not going to have all done this kind of work and let him go. 7.5 kilometers behind him, 7.7 to try and pull it back. And they're going to pull him back. You mark my words. But exciting. He's making a fist of it. He's the lad. Good on him. But he's going to pay for this. They will pull him back, and he's going to pay for this. How strong he is, I don't know, because he's a rider I'm not familiar with. I do know that the Danes have got a very strong team of riders, but I don't know this particular rider. So, and as I say, they're pulling him back. He stretches it to 60 meters and counting. So this is a big effort. He wants to win this. Is he going to prove me wrong? 8.5 kilometers to go, and we've got that bit of a hill. Ah, you know, he could stick this. He could be making me eat my words. He could stick this. 100 meters. This could be a winning move, because it looks like, look at the wattage from the guys behind. It looks like they've given, I say that, and Daniel Cadiz puts in the 11 watt kilos along with John 13. There we go. There's my alarm, folks. I'm going to stay with him, because this is quite exciting, but I'm just going to jump on the bike, turn the pedals, make sure I'm not kicked out. So for some reason my phone's gone off. It's not a good sign. But we're still in, because I'm still watching the live stream. Why has my phone gone off? Press it. Oh, let's just press a button. Why has it gone off? Please tell me you haven't. Oh no, we're still here. We're still here. That's a commentator's worst nightmare. If the screen app crashes, you can get back in. If the phone app crashes, you're stuffed. During a race, you cannot get back in, and you're gone. You're gone for good. I'm going to switch the camera around and see if we can't see the chasing pack. No, we can't. We can't even see the riders behind him. Are they just going to come around that corner as I speak? No, look. He's got a huge gap now. Can't even see the riders behind him. 130 meters. He's making my words, folks. So this is a winning break. It all depends on, is he going to push it out on this hill? But it does look at the wattage behind him. I think Daniel, John Beams and Lyons have decided we're not chasing. In fact, Lyons has been dropped, and I'm going to go back down the field very soon. No, they're putting they're now in on site. You can see, so they are trying. Maybe they were just taking it easy coming into this section. They are trying. Look at the wattage now being put out. Oh, this is going to get exciting, folks. 6.7 kilometers to go, and they've got him back in the sights. And in fact, Daniel has pulled it back to 40 meters. John's just behind with 88. Yeah, I think Daniel wants to win this. And is John just going to let them go, or is John going to try? This is going to affect tomorrow's racing, folks. If Daniel's putting in a huge effort like this today, he's gonna pay for this tomorrow. But he wants to win it. I said the other day during the Tour du Alps that I've read him correctly. Daniel is the kind of rider that doesn't like to lose. He's not going to give up a position easily. You've only got to look at his profile on RGT and see how many wins he's got. He's a rider that doesn't want to come in second place. And it must have really stung him when John took the crown from him the other day. Because I get the impression that he takes it personally. He just does not like being beaten. And this has been a good effort by Daniel to claw this back. I didn't think when it went out to 130 meters and they were not pushing the big watts, it was going to come back together. But he has done. He's got it back, and I think he's got the better of Feldbau purely and simply because of the effort that Feldbau put in to try and stay away. So. But it might come down to a sprint, and we don't know which of these two riders is the better sprinter. And I think John has just settled now. He's settling in. It doesn't look like John is going to play any part in this in terms of the win, the overall. Okay, while these two are duking it out, I will keep an eye on it, folks, but I just want to see what's happening behind. There's John, there's Lyons. Now, those two are not too far apart, but I think John will hold on to his third place. Sylvain has made a really good fist of it, hanging on to his place and staying away from James Ogilvy. But I think these positions are likely to... Now, this is an interesting battle. As Murtaugh and Kaufmann are working together. Oh no. Sorry, Kaufmann has been lapped. I apologise, Wagstaff. I was just getting confused there. Yeah, Kaufmann has been lapped by Murtaugh. And there's Wagstaff. Millet. There's our own Paul Padel. And look at this from Lawson, trying to catch the hoop. Who's freewheeling. He needs to put his foot on the pedals because Lawson's just going to go screaming past. Now this is where he needs to jump. Jump on his wheel. No, he hasn't got anything left. Got nothing left, folks. Otherwise, the classic... Oh, he's trying. The classic thing to do there is to jump on the wheel of the man that's just going past you. But you can see he's lost it. He's lost the wheel, and I don't think he's going to get... No, he's not going to get there. So let's just work his way back further down the field. And this time what I'm going to do is... There's Jackson. Silvestre and DeRoche, so they could end up coming together. There could be a few battles after we've watched the leaders coming into the finish. There's DeRoche. Panarisi with 30. I'm trying to keep an eye on how many kilometers we've got to go. Anybody that knows me and my commentating style knows that I stay with the riders, and I usually end up watching the last rider home. So that's what I'm going to do today as well. we're going to get every rider coming in, which means me hanging around for quite a few minutes after the leaders have finished. But who's your money on here, folks? Who's going to take it between these two? Because Daniel's allowed Felbo to have a little bit of a recovery period here. And so I think that's going to be key. Can't really call a winner here, but I don't know. And you're still putting in high effort, but Felbo just looks very strong. 4.9 watt kilos. Yeah. I fancy him for the win, actually. Even though Daniel put in that huge effort to catch him. But I'm bound to get it wrong, so we'll wait and see what happens. Either of them could take this win. John is sort of like 300 meters. That's not beyond the realms of possibility of him pulling it back. But I don't know. I mean, look at the guys up front. They're doing 8. Yeah, Daniel's gone off the front, testing Felbo. But Felbo's responding with an 11 watt kilo effort to pull him back. So they're both duking it out. They're both putting in silly wattages to pull each other back as they lap Panarisi. So the rider that you can see in front is being lapped now. There you go. And 2.6 kilometers to go. So we're probably going to stay around the front with these two riders and watch them just battle it out now. I think this is where the most of the excitement is going to happen between these two at the moment. And then hopefully we'll get some battles further down the field between some of the other riders. But oh, excuse me. I think we have to stay with this one because look, they're both going hammer and tongs at each other. First one of them goes off the front, then the other. They're really duking it out here. Fascinating battle. And the climbing's done now, so we've just got to get into the finish now. There's no more climbing. It's going to be a fast run-in. As you can see from the speed now being done, 48 kilometers 49, albeit he's on the downslope, but this downslope goes on for a little while and he's getting a gap here. Can Cadiz pull this one back? As we see Felbo still on the downhill putting in 5 watt kilos. And this is insane. For a rider I haven't heard anything about as well. Check him out later after the broadcast. Because his threshold is over 5 watt kilos. You can see he's not going into the red till he gets to about 5.4, 5.5 watt kilos. So that's pretty high. Now, has he got it? He's got 1 kilometer to go with 80 meters gap. Let's switch the camera behind. I'll turn it. No, we can't even see Daniel on the road. So I think he's got this. He's still putting, no, I mean, he's putting a turn of 7 watt kilos there. So yeah, he's got this. So yes, I know I called it late, but I called the winner. So, but no big shakes there. I mean, he did look stronger than Daniel, even though Daniel did catch him. So I need to check him out though on RGTDB and see what his other results have been and have a look at the fellow for future racing. But this has been a good ride. He's He's worked well here. And you can see the riders behind are just sort of like now, I think Daniel's 200 metres behind. He's not going to kill himself now towards the finish. He's going to want to finish in front of John, which he will do. So Daniel's let it go now. Look at his wattage. He's not worried at all. And this is the hairpin that I thought would be key, and it's not key. It's not played a part now. So there we go. Feldball takes the win. Let's go back down to Daniel, coming in some, 200 metres behind, give or take. And really, you can see he's eased right back. He's more or less freewheeling this in 0.9 of a watt kilo. So he's just more or less freewheeling in, as you can see. Totally easing off here to get his legs back to something like. So Daniel takes second spot, and John Beams is going to take third, unless he's caught by lions. How he's got 500 meters. No, he's not going to get caught. But having said that, if he eased up any more and lions continued to push, he would. But he's got enough in the bank here to get home in front of lions. So that's not the positions I expected to finish, to be honest. I thought it would have been closer towards the end between the top three. As John comes on home, there we go, and Lions not far behind. This has been a good ride by the Team 3R rider. Well done, Lions. Yep, there he goes under the finish banner. And Sylvain, poor lad, got dropped and had to close up those gaps, and really paid for it. Otherwise, I think, he could have been looking at a slightly higher placing. But he's done well to get fifth here. He really has. He's come past James and Murtaugh. So he's done well. You have to take your hat off to him. This has been a very good ride. Especially after his early efforts as well. So fifth place for Sylvain. And then we've got James hopefully holding on to his sixth place. Now that's been a good ride. Now we're going to be hanging around for quite a while, folks, because the riders at the back of the field have still got 5 kilometres to complete. So I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. But what I will do is I will stick up a few of our sponsors on screen and do a bit of promotion while we're watching the later riders coming in. And I'll just talk about next week as well, and the Tour de Alps, which is coming up. So we'll just let fifth and sixth come in, and then there's a fair old few gaps. So there's Sylvain in fifth, good ride, and then James is going to come in sixth place, and then we've got noticeable gaps between the riders. So, but I'm commentating tomorrow night on at least I think I am commentating tomorrow night on the Tour de Alps again. It'll be my third stint. And the likes of John Beam, Daniel Cadiz and Andrei Krajewski will be battling it out. I think the first, second and third. There's James giving me a wave. Well done, James. That's a good ride, sir. Well done. So there's Murtaugh. We'll watch him coming in. But I think it's going to be a very, very interesting battle. Let's just close this window. And are we still live? Yeah, we're still live, I hope. It's going to be a very interesting battle, because for those of you that don't know what happened during the week, Daniel took the opening stages and was looking unstoppable, Daniel Cadiz. was totally looking unstoppable, after the third and fourth stages. Sorry, the third stage. And then come the fourth stage, it just so happened that Daniel was in a different time slot to John Beams. And John rode a later time slot from Daniel. Daniel had to go in the earlier time slot and set a fast time, but John Beams was able to go in the later slot with a teammate, and he made up a huge amount of time in that time slot, mostly on the downhills, I have to say, where he was drafting, and he just took, I think he took about 8 minutes. He took back a 3-minute deficit and increased it by 5. So he took about 8 minutes from Daniel, thanks to him and his teammate working together, which was a very, very tactically astute move. And although Daniel took 25 seconds back on the 5th stage on Friday, it's now set up, there's about just short of a 5-minute gap between the two of them, with Krajewski in third. And it's going to be exciting tomorrow. I think tomorrow is going to be a key stage. I mean, people are saying, oh, Tuesday will be the decider, but I don't think so. I think tomorrow's stage is going to be the key stage. I don't say it's going to decide it, but it's going to be the key stage, because we'll have to see whether Daniel can pull back any more time on John. And I feel that he has to do it tomorrow. I don't think he can leave it till later in the week. If he pulls back a significant amount of time tomorrow, then it's wide open. But I that's just my take. I think we're looking at, as we see, Wagstaff coming in slightly behind. Good ride, sir. And then Paul, another 600 meters behind. But yeah, I genuinely believe that tomorrow's key stage is going to be the key stage of the whole tour now, that the dynamic has changed. I mean, we all had a feeling that Daniel was going to walk away with it, but John turned it completely on its head, and he's making a real exciting finish to the whole tour. I mean, with 5 stages to go, so I'm not discounting anybody, but I just have a feeling tomorrow is going to be the key stage. Yeah, and James says, thanks for streaming. It's a pleasure, James. This is what I'm here for. I'm glad to be back doing it, actually, because this is a test stream prior to me going full hog on Thursday when I cover the Tour de Alps. That should get me a lot of views, because ZMS are not streaming, and I'll be able to cover the whole race from my own studio. Anyway, folks, I hope you're enjoying this broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed watching the winners coming in, and I'm going to cover every rider. So we've got another 9 riders to go to come in. And we're going to be around for a little while, because Mr. Kaufman is 12 kilometers away. So I'm going to be sat here for a little while yet. I'm probably going to miss my tea. But we'll see what happens. Unless Mr. Kaufman decides to climb off his bike, or I'll look at his wattage and see what he's doing. Sometimes if a rider isn't really, is just sort of like turning the pedals, sometimes I will quit the feed early, because it's not really fair on me to sort of like hang around if the riders are not putting in an effort to finish. We'll see. But Paul managed to stay out ahead of the hook here, so that was a good 10th place for Paul Podell. And here you can see threshold effort. So wasn't that far behind. But it's nice to see all the riders coming in, to be honest. There we go. Lawson, a further 400 metres behind. Then we have Shaw, and then we have a fair old gap then to the next riders. I am going to try and see if I can't. Let's just pull up a Facebook page and see if I can't find out a bit more information about, as we see Lawson coming into the finish. But now that we've got bigger gaps, apart from what we got here, 450 meters, and then we've got a almost 2 kilometer gap. So let me see if I can't pull up a web page and find the standings for the Tour du Alps. Bear with me, folks, as while I'll get to the next on the screen. Get to the next rider, Mr. Jackson, who's to come in now. What has he got? 1.6 kilometers. So I'll continue to look on the internet and see if I can't find the standings. Let's see if James has. No, I'm finding. James has put them up. Ah, there we go. There's the stage 5 age results. We don't want that. We want the overall standings. I might have to do this in tomorrow's broadcast. What I'll do, folks, is I will do a news broadcast. I'm finding the age results. I'm just not finding the full results. Nope, can't find them. Go to cycling users and see if we can find them there. So what I'm doing here is I'm having a look on the internet to see if I can't find the results. But James, if you're listening for tomorrow's news broadcast, rather than me having to do this, which takes me an awful lot of time to find out results on this lot, can you please send them over to me? You and Paul, send me any news articles over, but also please send me the results, because this is hard work. Having to search through the forums to find the results pages. I'm okay at the moment because I've got a few minutes while these riders come in, but generally I don't have time to do this, and it could mean that I won't be able to put up the results. In fact, I'm going to fire off a message to remind you to do that as well. Nope, I can't find them. So what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to, as we watch laser catching. Oh, this was nice. Nice catch. So I'm sorry I can't remember your first name, Laser, and I should know it because I've covered you before. But he's caught Jackson on the line. Now, is he going to just whiz past him at the finish? No, he's going to allow Jackson to finish in front of him. So well done, Jackson and Laser. Oh, I need to click on the scene. There we go. As we get Silvestre, what's he got to do? 500 meters. So we're getting towards the tail end now, folks. That was a good ride by Lazar. Catch Jackson. Well done. And De Roche isn't that far behind Silvestre here. So we're going to have two riders coming in close together here as well. It takes this final hairpin and 3 wheels to the finish. There we go. And there's De Roche. So, yeah, James has just said, okay, everyone, results on OTR page, but I really need him to send me through the Tour du Alps stuff, but I'll send him a direct message as we watch Duroche coming into the finish. That was a nice jersey, Duroche. Well, maybe I should have highlighted that earlier. Panarisi, he's got 3.6 kilometres now. So we've got 2 riders left on the road. We've got Panarisi with 3 and Kaufmann with 6 kilometres. Although it does look like, let's just go to Kaufmann, looks like he's having difficulty because he's stopped at the side of the road. So I don't know whether he's decided to call it a day or not. We'll go back to Panarisi, who I'm going to cover in. But if Kaufmann continues to show 0-0, then obviously Panarisi is going to be Lantern Rouge last man on the road. We'll see what happens with Kaufmann. I have to say, though, if Kaufmann does get running, I'm probably not going to cover him coming into the finish with this dropout. It would mean me being online for about another at least 20 minutes, and I think I'd like to go and have my tea. You can hear the children have got out of the bath and are going downstairs, so yeah. But this has been a good race. I've enjoyed covering this, folks, and I hope you've enjoyed the commentary. Now, those of you that are still hanging around, or those of you that come on later to watch, please hit the like button and help me grow this channel, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber, because you'll be notified of all the good stuff coming up, like the Tour du Alps, and we have some more bits and pieces coming up which I'll announce tomorrow. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let me grow the channel. I really would like to get to 200 subscribers before we hit Christmas. But that's a tall ask, because I'm about 165 at the moment. So it'd be nice if you could subscribe for me and help me get there. Both me and other organisers and people like Paul Nicholls put in an awful lot of effort for these streams and for OTR, so it would be nice just to see a little bit of recognition back in return. We'll watch Panarisi coming up this final climb. Legs must be tired. And I think it goes, yeah, I was just about to say, I think it goes over 10%, doesn't it? Does it top out at 12% as it kicks up towards the end? Whatever, it's not easy at this. Oh no, 10%, 10.2 it kicked out at. So unless it kicks up again, of course, I can't remember. But in the Tour du Alps, I made a bit of a joke about it, but Paul Nicholls, who we've now nicknamed Cruella Nicholls, always seemed to put towards the end of a stage within the last kilometre, or even, whoa, got kicked out. Okay, folks, I'm sorry I didn't get, yeah, I should have set another alarm. I'm sorry I didn't get to get the last man in. But that's the end of the broadcast, so I'm just going to fire up the finishing thanks for watching screen. Let's just transition that across. Give a shout out to the sponsors. So there's a shout out to our sponsors here at OTR, mostly for the Tour du Alps. And thanks everybody for watching. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed streaming this, and we'll see you in the next one. Tomorrow I'm hoping to cover the early running. I won't be able to cover the full race, but the early running of stage 6 of the Tour du Alps. But we'll have a news programme prior to it, so try and catch the news programme. I'll give you a rundown on what's happened in the first 5 stages of the Tour du Alps, and we'll also make a few announcements about what we've got up and coming. On that note, I'm going to say good night. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye for now.